Hi guys, welcome back to Chasing Cases with Maddie, of course. This week I'm bringing you guys a really just messed up case. I know I said that a lot, but this one truly just aggravates me, and there's so many question marks. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's go chase some cases. Today we are going to be covering the case of Brian Shaffer. After a night of hanging out with friends and drinking at a bar, Brian disappeared, never to be seen again. Born in Pickerington, Ohio, to his parents Renee and Randy, Brian also had a brother named Derek. Brian was a medical student at Ohio State University, earning his bachelor's degree in microbiology. On March 31st, classes were dismissed for spring break. Brian celebrated by having a steak dinner with his father and spending some time together. Randy noted that his son seemed exhausted from his studies and cramming for his crucial exams. But by 9 p.m., Brian was out hanging out with his friends heading to the Ugly Tuna Saloon bar. Although Randy didn't think it was the best idea, he didn't stop his son from leaving that night. Meeting up with his friends and beginning to drink, the group decided to go bar hopping that night. Brian met up with a girl named Meredith Reed, who was a mutual friend. Deciding to head back to the Ugly Tuna Saloon bar after going bar hopping, Brian eventually called his girlfriend, who was at home in Toledo. They discussed their upcoming plans of heading down to Miami. They were supposed to go down there to celebrate spring break together. Before the group returned to the bar, they did stop at a liquor store. Once they arrived back at the bar, the group joined in for last call. This is when Brian got separated from the group. Brian was last seen on security footage just before 2 a.m. The friends Brian was with began searching for him and repeatedly calling him, and they couldn't find him. The group decided to wait outside and wait for Brian to see if he'd show up, and Brian was not among the last bar patrons. On Monday morning, Brian missed his flight down to Miami, and his girlfriend Alexis began to panic. The police began by searching the Ugly Tuna Saloon bar where Brian was last seen. The area near the bar was riddled with crime due to location and distance to campus. They reviewed the security footage and spotted the group heading up the escalator at 1:15 a.m. Brian was spotted at 1:55 a.m. outside of the bar talking to two women before briefly moving off camera. Investigators started by looking at the different businesses in the area, and that footage turned up nothing also. After searching Brian's apartment, his car, everything, there was no trace of foul play or anything. Completing a search a few mile radius from the bar, and still nothing came up. Now let's get into some theories. Brian left by choice. Investigators concluded it is possible Brian could have changed his clothes and put on a hat and left on camera, but was just not noticeable because he wasn't wearing the same clothes that everyone had seen him in all night, claiming that he walked out into a new life. With different routes and exits and entrances without cameras, people believe that Brian took one of those exits. And with the recent death of his mother, people believe that Brian went to grieve in solitude. In 2008, after a really bad storm, Randy was out cleaning debris off of his yard when a branch flew off of a nearby tree, striking him and killing him instantly. After his obituary was posted online, there was an odd comment left that said, "To Dad, love Brian from the Virgin Islands. Foul play at the bar." Brian was pretty drunk by the time last call came around. Only a few cameras in the bar were functioning properly. People speculate the security footage could have been altered to better fit the bar staff's narrative. Friend involvement. People speculate that the friends knew what happened to Brian, but refused to speak up. Investigators failed to conduct polygraph tests even on the two women that were last seen with Brian on security footage, even after they came forward willing to do a polygraph test. In the aftermath, the investigators definitely botched Brian's case. His investigation was truly corrupted by them deciding that Brian walked off into a new life. He disappeared on his own free will. Brian's disappearance is still a mystery, and he has not been heard from since that night. Brian's brother Derek is still seeking justice and wants nothing but answers and a conclusion on what happened to his brother. And with that is the end of this week's episode of Chasing Cases. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I send all my love to Brian's family. It's just insane that someone so young and so smart just ends up in a situation where they disappear and they're never seen again. So with that being said, I send all my love to Brian's family. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode of Chasing Cases. I love you guys so much. I'll see you guys next week for a normal vlog and in 2 weeks for Chasing Cases. I love you.